Okay, so what you're saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. Now, before we get into this, make sure you follow me on my Telegram channel. Left link to that in the live chat and also the description below. So we post a lot of different trading setups there throughout the week, and you don't be missing out on that. So make sure you go check that out. But like I said, another live stream, I'm going to talk you through what's happening in the charts today and see if you've got any opportunities coming our way. So first, we're going to start with AUD USD, and you can see for this pair looking very, very bullish here. Prices actually create some new highs here from a daily, weekly perspective. As you can see, we're taking out those recent highs. By the end of the day, we might have pulled back down and actually closed below. But as you can see, we have created some new highs here. I did say if we do hold this area, we'll probably see a push to the upside, and actually could see price create some new highs here for AUD USD. And as you can see, we're looking very bullish there, especially with the weak US dollar. So again, very big push to the upside. You're going to be expecting to see some retrace now. You can see on the hourly, very big push to the upside starting from the morning. And again, just consecutive bullish candles. So we're likely to see some retrace after that. But overall, AU is still looking very bullish. Similar for Euro USD, as you can see, we got past this level. Previous support here was acting as resistance. Price slowed down a little bit. But as you can see, the 10 a.m. candle took us to the upside very well. Big push to the upside. So again, for this pair, I do expect a little bit of retrace. But I do see further movement to the upside for Euro USD back to this level here in the market. As you can see, really key level of prior resistance here. As you can see, we had a nice push to the upside, prior resistance there, and after that we had price come all the way down, creating these new lows. So as you can see, we found those new lows, pushed to the upside, and now it looks like we're creating a new higher low. So it looks like price is failing to push lower, and we're looking at potential reversal here. So again, bit of a false breakout out of that support, and could be seeing a move into that previous area of resistance, and there will be acting resistance there again. So still biased to the upside for USD, expecting to see some retrace now after you see that big bullish candle there in the 4H, very big push to the upside, so likely to see some retrace now. But again, I think we're still on our way up, and we could actually see a bullish Euro USD again next week, taking out this level here around 1.21886, and potentially can go a lot higher than that. USD CAD looking bearish, we broke back below this level here, so it looks like we're going to get a drop into this support and maybe even further. Again, this is our previous low all the way down here. This is where we wicked to, and then we saw a bit of a counter move to the upside. So I think we're on our way down to those lows now, and potentially even create a lower low, because again, you can see the trend is still bearish, and on the higher time frames, on the monthly, weekly, daily, are still very much in the bearish trend as well. So it looks like we're having just another continuation of that overall bearish trend for USD CAD. So I probably favor another push to the downside again, because of that big push. Might see a bit of retrace, but nonetheless, I still see USD CAD continue to the downside back into this support. And then if we break through that, probably can take out some recent lows, which is this wick to the downside. I reckon we'll probably take that out, maybe go test 1.25. But so far, USD CAD is looking very bearish. USD CHF again in the push to the downside. I said we'll probably find previous resistance turn support here. I'll probably say we'll come and test that level. As you can see, we are testing that. Again, price is kind of just stuck now between a really strong area of resistance and a really strong area of support. So it just depends which way price wants to break out to. If you do break out of that support there, which price is currently testing, it's likely that we'll come back to this area where we had this initial push to the upside, and potentially could even go a lot further because USD CHF long term is still quite bearish. So we could just be seeing a continuation of that trend. But as you can see, we've been seeing a lot of bullish momentum coming to the market here. So I think we'll definitely find support here, and price might struggle a little bit to break past that area. But if you do get below the support that price is currently trading at, I do think USD CHF is on its way there. But again, we could easily see another swing back to the upside, because we are stuck between a really strong area of resistance and support. If we did take out that resistance, we'll probably like to come back to those highs again and create some new highs. But at this point, as you can see, we failed to take out that level. Price fell back down, is now testing that support. I think we could break through that support if we do come to that level, but we could easily see another swing to the upside. Again, price is kind of trapped between those two key levels, so just need to see which one price wants to break to, and then we can see the direction for USD CHF. But currently, right now, we're testing a very strong area of support, so it'll be interesting to see how it reacts. But if we do get a break, I'm likely to see USD CHF fall into this area down there. GBP USD for this one, overall again still very bullish. As you can see, we did retest this area here, prices continue to the upside, so again just creating those higher highs and higher lows there in the market. Very clear bullish trend here for GBP/USD, and now we've actually reached 1.4, so again price is likely to find some retracement now on the higher time frames, but overall again GBP/USD is still very bullish from a monthly, weekly and daily perspective. As you can see, higher highs, higher lows. I think the overall target for GBP/USD so far is about 1.42, and still got a long way to get there since we're trading around 1.4 around about now. So again, could be seeing some retrace after this big push. So you can see these two big bullish candles that we had yesterday taking us to the upside. We're likely to see some retrace of those candles soon, but so far it doesn't look like we're getting it, as price is still looking bullish. If I jump to the hourly, you can see we're still making higher highs, higher lows. So again, definitely not one to be looking to taking any shorts for GBP/USD as of yet, because price still does look like it's on its way up. So you need to be patient for that, but could be seeing some retrace soon for GBP/USD back to the downside. But again, for now, price is still looking very bullish, and from that we can expect price to continue to the upside for that pair. GBP/JPY moves similar to GBP/USD. As you can see, we're coming into a key level of resistance now that I've marked on the weekly time frame. So again, really key level of resistance here on the weekly. Nice push to the downside. Second time, nice push to the downside. Now back at that same level a third time. So we're bound to see a reaction from this level. Again, we could be seeing a wick above it, then price falls back down. So we could be subjected to false breakouts, but need to be aware of that. But I think overall 148, we could be seeing a bit of a reaction for GBP/JPY. And again, you can see on the daily we're very overextended to the upside, and on the weekly as well. You can see just purely for the past 8-9 weeks, we just be seeing consecutive bullish candles there. So we'll definitely do some retrace for GBP/JPY. And we're coming up to a really key level, so we could be seeing GBP/JPY starting to reverse soon, but as of yet there's no real incentive for that reversal. As you can see, we are starting to slow down with these bearish candles coming back into the market, but again, no real sign there that we're looking to turn around for GBP/JPY just yet, so we need to be aware of that. But I think if price does remain bullish, we could see maybe price take out 148 and then come back down. But overall, I think we'll probably do a bit of a retracement for GBP/JPY, bigger move to the downside, before we might continue back to the upside for that pair. NZD/USD looking very bullish here, as you can see, taking out this recent level of resistance. Bit of a false breakout there earlier on, fell back to the downside, pushed to the downside, and now you see we're looking bullish again. So I still think GBP/JPY is heading to the upside, back to the recent highs here. As you can see, this is our high there. Price is consolidating. Now looks like it wants to finally break to the upside and come and test that resistance up there, and probably create some new highs. And I do think NZD/USD is on its way to do that. Again, you can see very choppy pair right now. For the most, it was just consolidating, but it looks like it slowly wants to break to the upside. As you can see with these higher lows there in the market, so that's a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So you can see slowly we're pushing to the upside, and it looks like price wants to take out that level and go and test that resistance all the way up there. But again, we might see a sharp movement back down just because of the nature of the market so far. It's very choppy, so quite hard to buy into the market if you're not really buying in it back there. So it could be seeing some retrace for the USD, but I do think still the overall target for this pair is still back to the highs, and maybe even create another higher high. Next, going to take a look at EUR/JPY. So EUR/JPY is starting to look a little bit bullish now. As you can see, had a very strong move to the downside. This looks like it's still retraced, but I wouldn't be surprised if we were to slowly creep up and just see that momentum build up and see price come all the way back to the highs up here, because this is where the move started. As you can see, this is still kind of retracement compared to this move, very impulsive move to the downside. Now you can see very low momentum candles to the upside, so still treating that as retrace, but as you can see, we haven't quite turned it over yet. We do have this key level of price support here. As you can see, we broke this support with a lot of momentum, currently testing that same level now. So if you do hold at this level, could be seeing a continuation of this bearish move, so that impulsive move retracement, and then another push to the downside. But as you can see, still bullish yet, so no real sensitive for the market to come down just yet for EUR/JPY. But it still looks like retracement, and we could be seeing a nice push to the downside soon. But so far, we're still bullish, so you need to be aware of that. We could break above that level and come and tap into the resistance up there before coming down. So you need to be aware of that. But overall price looks like it's still a little bit bullish and could climb higher. Next, we'll take a look at GBCAD. So GBCAD will create some new highs for this pair. As you can see, kept holding to that trend line. Price took out the highs here. Bit of a false move, came back down, and then shot to the upside with two very, very big bullish candles there. So looking still very bullish still for GBCAD. Could see a bit of retracement, of course, with these big push to the upside. You can see in the hourly consecutive bullish candles there. You do expect the market to go and retrace those candles there, but overall GBCAD is still very bullish. You can see we tapped into 1.77, so again, really key level of resistance here. So if I jump to the weekly, you can see 1.77 is a very key level of resistance. So 1.77 is around there. So you can see we keep wicking into this level, wick there, rejection, rejection, rejection. Now we're coming back to that same level. So we're bound to see some rejection as well for GBCAD, but it looks like we slowly are trending to the upside. So I don't think we'll get too big of a rejection. Probably see the market fall to the downside a little bit, maybe come back and test this trend line before continue back to the upside, because it's looking like from the higher time frame point of view, looking like we're finding some bullish momentum now, and we could be seeing GBCAD slowly break to the upside. So going to be expecting some retrace for this pair after those two consecutive bullish candles, but overall I think GBCAD still has further room to the upside for that pair. Next, we'll take a look at Euro AUD. So Euro AUD is still looking very bearish here. As you can see, quite a tight knit trend there to the downside. You can see there's clear lower highs, clear lower lows there as well. We've taken out the recent swing low. So again, this was the recent low of the market. Back here, nice push to the upside. As you can see, the market just fell to the downside quite nicely there. So even on the daily, we're taking out the recent lows. So price is still looking very bearish. As you can see, recently we had a nice push to the downside. Price was testing previous support, now to resistance, fell to the downside. So simple, price just keep on with that downtrend. So now after that push phase, you do expect to see some retracement. So again, could be seeing a bit of a move back to the upside after this very strong move to the downside. But nonetheless, price is still looking very bearish here, and there's no real opportunity to look to take advantage of that retracement there, because again, price is still looking very bearish. We do still have this trend line here intact with the recent swing lows here, so a break of that trend line could take us in a bit of a reversal, but overall price is still looking very bearish to the downside, and as long as we keep up that price action, price can continue for a lot longer to the downside for that pair. CAD JPY, so far we had a nice push to the upside, but price is losing its momentum to the downside. We're looking for a bit of retracement here. As you can see, very low momentum candles, a lot of very choppy price action, and as you can see, we're failing to really take up that level there in the market. We're expecting to see a bit more of a reversal, maybe tap back into this area, but as you can see, we don't really have the momentum to go and do that, and it's looked like we could be seeing a push to the upside first before coming back down for CAD JPY. Again, you can see in the hourly, very, very choppy there as well. I think we do have a bit of a trend line here in the market. So again, price is respecting this trend line quite well, keeping it moving to the downside, but showing that it's really failing to break through it. So that actually could be seeing a push to the upside for this one. Again, we do have this upper trend line there as well. So it looks like we could be seeing a breakout to the upside if you take out that trend line. If that happens, probably expect price to come back to the recent highs all the way up there, or maybe even further, because again, CAD JPY is still very long term and it's still very bullish, as you can see by the daily chart. So we're likely to see a bit of retrace, but the overall bias is still to the upside for CAD JPY. Clear uptrend of higher highs and higher lows there in the market. Let's go and take a look at GPAUD. So GPAUD took a bit of a hit today. As you can see, we had a nice push to the upside, but as you can see, we came right back down and retraced that whole movement by the end of the morning, really. As you can see, big push to the upside. Price hit that 1.8 level. As you can see, a really strong level of rejection for GPAUD. Tested it there, fell to the downside, tested it there, fell to the downside, again tested it there, fell to the downside. So very strong area in the market. I was expecting to see some type of rejection, but as you can see, we had a really big one, and price just retraced the whole bullish movement that we had to the upside. So starting to look bearish now for GPAUD after that. Do have a bit of a trend line in the market here, which gave us that move to the upside. As you can see, we're currently trying to take that level out. I think if you do take out that trend line, price probably has the potential to come back to these lows here. As you can see, this is where the news came in, nice push to the upside. Also found support there again, and nice push to the upside. So a break of that trend line probably takes us to that low there, and then at that point we'll probably just have a range between this support here and that resistance there for GPAD. So again, we just have a range bound market at that point, and we need to see a break of that support, that resistance, to get real direction. But again, a move into that support will probably just again cause another bullish reaction to the upside. Whether we'll get a swing all the way back up to 1.8, probably have to find out later. But so far looking quite bearish, and could be expecting that momentum maybe to continue to come test around 1.78-ish area, which is this key level of support. Next, we're going to take a look at USD JPY. So currently in a short trade for this one, looking for a move to the downside. This area was my initial target for USD JPY. As you can see, a really nice area of previous support. Now we'll be acting as support there again. So we jump to that hourly. You can see you had a very big push to the upside, creating some new highs there in the market, and overall slowly falling to the downside, and now coming back into that support there. So price is overall looking quite bearish here for USD/JPY. Again, this is our previous high there. As you can see, we took out that high, now trading back below it, so a bit of a false move there, and could actually be seeing a nice move to the downside for this pair. So again, we do have support going through here, and now it will be acting as support there again. So that's the first target, and if we take up that level, could go a lot further, maybe to test this low all the way down here where we did find support before taking that big move back to the upside. So USD/JPY still looking quite bearish. Still believe it's got further room to the downside. We haven't quite tested that support yet, so I think we still got a little bit more room to move for the rest of the day before the week ends, to come and test that area. And then maybe next week we can see a nice reaction at that level, and then a break and price come all the way down to the lows there. For USD/JPY, since on the daily chart, you can see we come to test that key level there in the market. As you can see, the reaction we had from it is quite big. Had a nice test of that level, fell all the way, creating these lows here before we had some fundamental reasons coming in and taking it higher. So could be seeing a nice bearish reaction from that same level into that support, and maybe a lot further there for USD/JPY. Next, we're going to take a look at gold. Okay, so gold looking very, very bearish so far. As you can see for this pair, this is on the daily chart, had a nice push to the downside, broke back above, had a nice engulfing candle, broke below that support, and from then we saw price really take off to the downside. So gold, is looking very bearish. We're right testing the lows. I believe we actually wicked a little bit lower, so we actually did create some new lows there for this pair. So probably going to see a movement to the upside. As you can see, nice impulsive push to the downside. Naturally going to expect some retracement here for gold. You can see that we're losing that momentum to the downside, and likely to see a bit of a push to the upside for the pair. But again, the trend is still very bearish here for this pair. As you can see, making those lower lows, lower highs back to the same area. And if you do find support, could see a nice push back to the upside for gold, potentially to come and go and test this sort of area here. As you can see, we had a really nice support there, push the downside, could push back to the upside again and find some resistance, because again, very overextended to the downside for gold. But we're coming to a really key level. We're already wicked out lower, taking out some previous lows there, maybe taking out some stop losses, and now we can maybe see a push to the upside for this pair, and maybe look to retrace to come and test the key level there on the 4H. Next, we're going to take a look at Euro GBP. So Euro GBP is still looking very, very bearish for this pair, as you can expect, because of the strong pound we've seen over the past few weeks here. So you can see Euro GBP has just been falling to the downside, and right now it's taking out a really key level here on the weekly chart. So you can see the weekly very key level support, nice push to the upside, and now we're testing that same support there again here on the weekly. So we've actually taken out that level, but again, we could easily be subjected to false breakouts here, as you see another push to the upside. So again, need to be aware of that. But I think Euro GBP could be in for a big move to the upside, but again, it's unclear whether we're going to get that move, since the nature of Euro GBP is very, very choppy. As you can see here, very, very choppy pair, so hard to trade. But if you do get a nice push to the upside back above that level, could just mean that this move is a false breakout, and we could be seeing a bigger push to the upside for that pair, and seeing price really take off to the upside for Euro GBP. But for now, a bit of a bullish incentive there, but again, really not enough there, because we are taking out that previous level. If we get back above it, see a retest, we could be seeing nice opportunities to go long. But again, UGP, very choppy pair, and not, in my opinion, not the best pair to trade. So currently only in USDJPY short, looking for moving to that level, which we've almost reached. Might reach it by the end of the day. We'll see how it gets on. But yeah, in a short trade for the USDJPY, we're going to see how it gets on. We'll probably remain in that same trade through the weekend till next week. But yeah, just going to see how this gets on. And if anyone is in any trades or wants me to give some analysis on any different pairs or any different charts, just drop it in the live chat. I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis on those pairs. But yeah, just going to see how USDJPY gets on. Keep a look at some of the other USD pairs and just see how they get on throughout the day. Okay, so we're gonna have a quick look at gold. Okay, so for the gold, we recently had a nice push to the downside, a very big push. As you can see, we tapped back into the recent swing low of the market, actually create some new lows as well. As you can see, if I line up the previous swing low, so again, we did wick past it. So looking very bearish for gold on the daily time frame. As you see, nice push to the downside, overall making our way back to the downside there. 4H, nice push, but I'm probably favouring another push to the upside back for gold, since we've come to the previous swing lows, we wick below it, taking out some stop losses that will just be below that level, and now could actually see a push to the down, back to the upside. And as you can see, the momentum has also decreased there as well. Nice push to the downside to begin with, but as you can see, moving very choppy. The jump to the hourly as well, moving very choppy as well. So it's showing signs that we are losing momentum, and we could be seeing gold give us a push to the upside, where we can look to maybe target around this level here, seeing another push to create another lower high potentially, or maybe a reversal, because again, we're right back at the previous lows. You could be seeing a bit of a double bottom and a nice rejection back to the upside for this pair. But again, since we're right at the lows, we've taken out the swing low with a nice wick to the downside, and I think we could be seeing a nice push back to the upside, maybe back to this level here, or potentially even higher. So favouring a move to the upside for gold. Again, momentum decreased there. We do have a nice push to the downside, which is starting to run out of steam, and we could be seeing a nice push back up to the upside. If you do go and take out this level, of course we can continue to the downside a lot further, and then this overall bearish trend will just continue. But because we come right to the lows, you wick below, wick back above it, could be seeing a nice push back to the upside for gold, back into this area. And then at that point, we'll probably have looks like we have a bit of a double bottom at that point, where we could actually be seeing a reversal and seeing gold come all the way back to this level here, around 1950, 1960, around that level, and seeing a big push to the upside for this pair. Again, that's more long term, but if we do hold this level and give us a bit of a double bottom, we do have a lot of upside potential for this pair. But for now, favouring a move to the upside, looking for that level to hold, and seeing a nice push back into that previous support, which gave us all that momentum to the downside, expecting the market to retrace and go and tap back into that area, potentially either form another lower swing high, or maybe give us a reversal and see price go up a lot further. So I hope that analysis helped. Okay, so we'll do some analysis on GPJPY. Okay. Okay, so for this pair, again, been recently very extremely bullish to the upside. Price taken out very key levels, but on the long-term basis, from a weekly chart, you can see we're coming to a really key level of resistance here. As you can see, prior to this, back in February 2019, we saw a nice rejection from this level, came all the way to the downside. Again there, nice push to the downside as well, and then the fundamentals took it much lower. But as you can see, we're coming back to that same level of resistance. Again, I'm probably favouring to see a bearish reaction for GPJPY, since just the level of how strong that level is and the way it holds. Again, we could be subject to a false breakout. We could see a bit of a manipulation, a push to the upside, wick above it, come back down, and then see the drop. But I am favouring a bigger push to the downside rather than to the upside for this pair. As you can see in the weekly chart, we've had about 7 or 8 consecutive bullish candles, so we are definitely due to see a bearish week come in for this pair sooner or later. And again, it could easily be at this level, since it's a very strong level, and we could be seeing some retrace soon for this pair. So yeah, I'm favouring to see pound JPY see a bit of retracement. I'm not sure we'll see a reversal, but I am favouring to see some retracement. And as you can see, we're starting to see some bearish candles here on the daily starting to come in. So it does look like we're losing momentum to the upside, and it is because we're coming to that very key level there on the daily. But again, it could easily do another push to the upside. It could, because we are testing that key level around 148. We could see a nice push to the upside to hit 149 potentially before coming back down, because we are still very, very bullish on the higher time frames like the monthly, weekly, and daily. So there's a chance we could have a push to the upside first, maybe a bit of manipulation, take out the stops above that level on the weekly time frame before coming back down. But yeah, I am probably favouring a move to the downside, but it's a tricky pair because pound has been so strong lately, and again, probably need some fundamentals to make it weaker at this point. But right now, it's still very strong, so we could see a push to the upside first before coming back down. But I still believe the bigger move is to the downside rather than back up. So any move to the upside now, I believe, is probably going to be a fake move, and then we're going to start to see some retracement for GPJPY for this pair. So it's a tricky one because again, it's so bullish, and again, I could be wrong. We could just see this pair continue much higher, and we actually take out that weekly resistance. And if you do take out that weekly resistance, we could go a lot further. But because it's such a strong level, I feel like we could see at least some retracement from a weekly perspective, since we've had about 7 or 8 or even 9 bullish candles there in a row. So we are definitely due to see a bit of retracement and the bearish candle there from a weekly perspective. So yeah, I'm favouring a move to the downside for JPY again, but I won't be surprised if it have one more push to the upside before coming back down. But we are trading at a really key level, so I am expecting to see some type of bearish reaction, but we definitely need to see some pound weakness before we start to see any retracement here for GPJPY. So I hope that analysis provided you some help. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at GBP USD now. So for this pair, again, moves similar to GBP JPY. Again, recently very bullish. We've been, again, it's still pushing to the upside. Again, from a higher time frame point of view, we are still looking very bullish long term. So again, I'll start with the monthly time frame. So you can see with this pair, we're currently taking out this resistance here. Key level resistance, I had us moving sideways. We've taken out, and as you can see, we've been looking very bullish since we've taken out that level. And I think we're going to go and test 1.42 for GPUSD long-term point of view. So it looks like we're on our way to test that level. 142 is this level of resistance, which lines up with this. As you can see, we had a really nice push to the downside. Price looks like it's breaking up to come and test back to that area. You could actually take out that level as well. But for now, it looks like we're on our way to test that resistance. And on the daily, as you can see, we're still very bullish here as well, creating those lower highs, creating those higher highs, and those higher lows. 4 hourly, we've taken out our recent swing high there. As you can see, previous swing high, retracement, pushed to the upside, found support at that area, prior resistance turned support, and as you can see, it's still taking off to the upside. So again, for GPUSD, there's not really much levels to look to the left for from a daily perspective. As you can see, price has never really been here for the past few years now, a couple of years, until we reach 142 up there. So I think for GPUSD, we're still on our way to go and test 142, and as you can see, we're still looking bullish there. So naturally going to be expecting to see some retracement for this pair after creating those new highs. So might see some retracement, maybe even back to this previous swing low, maybe a push back down to that area before continuing. Our bias is still to the upside for GPUSD, expecting some new highs all the way up to 142. Currently we're testing 1.4, so again might see a bit of retracement from that area back to the downside, maybe a bit of a counter move, but I think for GPUSD we're still on our way to the upside to go test that 1.42 area. Right now creating some new highs, so naturally going to be expecting some retrace, but GPUSD, I still believe it's on its way to the upside for this pair. And again, if I jump to the hourly, there's not much really there. Nice push to the upside, but again, there's not much there. And again, 30-minute lower time frame still very bullish. So everything for GPUSD is still pointing to the upside. We'll probably see some retracement, maybe to start next week off, or maybe to end this week off in the next half of the day. But right now, GPUSD, I believe, is still on its way to the upside to around 1.42. So again, hope that analysis helped. And again, GPUSD does move similar to GPJPY. So if GPUSD is bullish 9 times out of 10, GPJPY will be bullish as well. So those two correlate, so probably help with understanding of your GPJPY position. So probably long term, we might actually see GPJPY continue, but we are definitely do some retrace. But again, it's a difficult one because pound is so bullish right now. Probably need some fundamental reasons to make it a lot weaker, so I need to wait for that. But right now, both pairs are still very bullish. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick look at Euro JPY and Euro USD. Okay, so for Euro USD, you can see we're still very, very bullish here. I still believe that Euro USD is probably still on its way to the upside to around 1.21886. There's key level resistance here. As you can see, we found support there and a nice swing to the upside. Found resistance there, and as you can see, we slowly eventually fell to the downside, creating some new lows. And recently had a very strong push to the downside. Price found a new higher low there, failed to really take off to the downside past that level, and as you can see, we had a nice impulsive push to the upside. So likely to see a bit of retrace after that big bullish candle that closed there at 10 a.m. So likely to see some retrace, but I still think USD is looking bullish. And it's on its way to the upside to around 1.21886. Again, probably see some retracement, but I think we're going to see a move into this level here, and maybe actually take out that level and go a lot further. Because again, the overall trend on the higher time frames, monthly, weekly, and daily, is still very much to the upside for Euro USD. So I think we're going to see continuation to the upside for this pair. Again, bit of retracement maybe to end of the week, and then we can see next week take it off to the upside to that 1.21886 level. And Euro JPY for this one again, still very bullish on the higher time frames. As you can see in the daily, creating those higher highs, higher lows. We did see a very impulsive push to the downside here for Euro JPY. As you can see, the momentum isn't really taking quite back to the upside, similar to Euro USD. Since they both move the same, there's chances are we could see that continuation to the upside again for Euro JPY, simply because Euro USD is bullish as well. But it does look, from a technical standpoint, looks like we might actually get a swing to the downside for Euro JPY, since we have this impulsive push. Price is now having low momentum bullish candles to the upside, showing that we're just retracing. If I jump to the hourly time frame, you can see we're coming back to this key level here of resistance. So again, we saw a lot of momentum come to the downside from this area. We're tapping back into that same area, so could see a bit of retracement finish and see another move to the downside. Got the impulse retracement, another impulse leg to the downside. However, if we get back above that area, it might mean that price is coming back to the highs again for Euro JPY. So if we take out that resistance, it probably means price is coming back to the highs, and at that point could see price go a lot further, because again, the overall trend on the higher time frames, the daily, you can see the weekly, we're still quite bullish here for Euro JPY. So it could just mean that for both those pairs, we're going to see some continuation of those bullish trends on the higher time frames. But Euro USD looks a lot clearer. Looks like we're on our way back to the upside. Euro JPY looks like we might see a push to the downside, just because we have that impulsive push, retracement. You do expect another impulsive push, but if you take out that level, we'll probably come back to the swing highs and maybe even create a higher high at that point if we do gain a lot of bullish momentum over the next few candles. But Euro USD, quite confident we could see continuation to the upside. Euro JPY, not so much. But again, hope that analysis helped. Okay, so it's just gone 12 p.m, so I'm going to end the live stream shortly. I'm going to do a quick rundown of some of the pairs and talk you through my current trade as well. So AUD still looking very bullish, as you can see here, still pushing to the upside. They will create some new highs there. Did expect to see some new highs for AU. Looks like it could be coming up to 0.79 level. Again, we are due some retrace, but we're still looking very bullish, and if price wants to continue, there's nothing stopping it to continue to the upside. EURUSD again still looking bullish here. Did say probably see some retrace now for EURUSD. Again, maybe even a pushback to test this level, going to support and push back up. But I still favour EURUSD to continue to the upside to 1.21886, or maybe even further. USD CAD is still looking bearish here. As you can see, we're pushing to the downside quite strongly. I did say we wouldn't come test this level now, and I think we'll probably see a break of that actually, and see price come and take out this wick all the way down here for USD CAD, and see price push a lot further. USD having a bit of a bullish reaction, as you can see from this level. Prior resistance now turned support, will be acting as strong support there. So we'll start between that resistance and that support, and just depends which way price wants to break to. Break through that support could take us back down to this level. If we held, we might actually see a swing back to that previous resistance, and then we'll just have a range bound market for USD. But again, trap between two key levels. Just depends which one price wants to break through the resistance, probably come back to the highs and create some new highs. Break the support, probably come back to that key level down there. JPY currently in a short trade, looking for a swing to the downside. This area was my first target. Again, practically hit that target there. So probably going to see a bit of a bullish reaction maybe for JPY. But I think we could probably break through that level and see a move back into this support here, which again is like the second level I'm looking to target, because again we do have that nice bearish momentum on our side. I'm looking for that to continue to the downside there. Next, going to take a look at GPUSD, and for this pair, still looking very bullish, as you can see, creating those higher highs and higher lows. So it looks like price is still to the upside for GPUSD. Currently, we're pushing to the upside, creating some new highs. So naturally, after this, you do expect to see some retrace come back into the market now for GPUSD. But again, long-term bias is still to the upside. I think we're going to reach 1.42 for that pair, and see price continue a lot further. So GPUSD still looking very bullish. Probably see a bit of retrace now, but again, there's nothing saying that we can't go further as long as the market does remain in that bullish structure. So probably going to see GPUSD continue, but we are due some retrace for that pair. So currently just in USD/JPY in a short trade. Again, we'll be looking to stay in this trade throughout the weekend, and I'll be talking again on Monday to see how it's going on. But that is then the live stream. Thank you again for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and also leave a like on the video if you're feeling generous. But thanks again for watching, and until the next one, I will see you guys later.